Hi, I'm Dr. Nancy Clark, and my channel name is called Inner Majesty. This is where we talk about spiritual topics. Comment below if it resonates with you. In my published book called Master Plant Teachers, which is available on Amazon, Apple Books, Amazon Audible, and on Barnes & Noble online. Hello everyone, I'm back again with going over chapter 8 in my book titled Master Plant Teachers. I'm doing this series. I'm glad you've decided to join in and be a part of this. And today I'm going to go over chapter 8. And chapter 8's title is called Our Wisdom is Within. So we'll go ahead and get started. We are taught that all knowledge has to come from outside of ourselves in the outer world. However, our wisdom is within. Yes, we do need to acquire information in the physical world, yet many spiritual truths are hidden in our inner chamber. It may require a spiritual teacher, a guide, who has traveled this journey before and can help on this spiritual quest. Be open to spiritual guides as well, such as angelic beings, animal spirits, our spirit guides that walk with us through our human life, ascended spiritual teachers, and even master plant teachers. We assume that our only help for guidance is physical people, and yet there is a wide array of beings willing to help us, but we need to ask, for they cannot cross the boundary of our free will. It is our life to live, and we are the artist of our waking dream. Many times, we forget to ask for help from our spirit guides, angelic beings, nature spirits, and so forth. Let us use our inner guidance system and tap into our inner space. In our busy world, we need to set aside time for our. There are different forms of meditation. For instance, a guided meditation, a walking meditation, where one walks in the forest or park or on a beach, a riding meditation while riding a bike in a peaceful setting or quiet neighborhood, or a mantra or singing meditation. Yoga, Qigong, and Tai Chi are forms of meditation and movement, as well as a traditional meditation of sitting in a quiet space and spending time going inward. Everyone is unique and will be attracted to different forms of meditation. Meditation brings us inward and connects us with our divine essence to feel this union with Source. This connection gives us access to internal wisdom, which guides us daily. Transpersonal experiences relate to a variety of experiences that a person can have during an entheogenic travels. These transpersonal experiences cause a person to go outside of the conscious mind, duality, time and space, the ego, and the personality. These would include stepping beyond objective reality and the physical senses. A person during the entheogenic experience comes in contact with loved ones who have crossed over the veil, encounters extra-dimensional beings, sees events in the future or possible future timelines, meets with different deities, galactic beings, their soul family, past life incarnations, and ancestral lineage, makes a plant and animal consciousness connection, and is able to travel to other universes and or galaxies, and experiences oneness with all. Wisdoms from ancient symbols, identification with biology such as atoms, cells, body organs, and so forth. Dr. Stan Groff shares several entheogenic adventures where he felt experiences were very real and still recalls their vividness to this day. He went to the lowest level to the highest level and shares how he was an atom and then in the center of source energy. He says that he enjoyed sharing of this experience and how there was a valley and the river of life flows towards the mouth of God. There was music and many animals of all kinds and people who came to this river. How happy, impactful, and deeply inspiring this entheogenic experience was for Dr. Groff. It touched him so deeply, and the impressive experience provided him with experiencing this oneness with all. One looks at life very differently, and these inspirational entheogenic experiences leave a permanent imprint on one's conscious mind and soul forever. The person had a significant experience, and there is no going back to the way they looked at life before the entheogenic experience. During a psychedelic experience, it was revealed that in one atom, many universes are there that are being experienced and different ways of viewing while in these universes. Each person needs to realize it is important to create an atmosphere that is positive and happy, for this affects the atoms, which are conscious and will correspond with the same happy or sad outer atmosphere. Atoms are the energy that all physical objects are made up of, and also all non-physical and energetic form, such as gases, photons, and etheric, which have life and thus divinity in them. Modern science has stated that life comes from atoms, which make up all visible forms and non-visible substances to the human eye. The lowest form that consciousness exists is at the level of each atom. Yes, atoms are sentient beings, and even physicists have come to realize this in experiments. When a person is watching atoms, they behave a certain way. The atoms know when another consciousness, being the human scientist, is watching them. When cameras are placed in a room to see what happens during an experiment, the atoms act differently. This has been proven over and over to verify this scientific and spiritual truth. To the average person, objects appear to have no life, yet the atoms within that make up any object, whether it's able to move or not, are in constant motion. And since everything is made up of energy, which is life force, all has the divine source energy within. Right before the consumption of the sacred ayahuasca brew, the ego and body are afraid and don't want to let go of control. The higher self, the soul, is trying to communicate, to bring to the surface, to get the participants' attention of things that need to be cleared out, addressed, or exposed, to identify things that are not for their highest good, to awaken them from the dream, and so forth. If an ayahuasca participant has done the inner work, then they will be transported to the higher realms for instruction, remembering why they came to Earth, providing an overall higher degree viewpoint, instantly clearing out all the programming, upgrading DNA light codes, checking in with their galactic or celestial light family, clearing ancestral bloodlines of the family tree that they happen to incarnate into from negative energetic karma, and being reminded of their purpose work and for incarnating at this time on the earth. These meetings are necessary, and the higher self will utilize sacred plant medicines to facilitate these mystical experiences and cause a healing on many levels, answering questions and bringing an awakening by remembering their true identity of who they were prior to incarnating into physical form. Ayahuasca will not always give you what you want, yet she will give you what you need most. Our diet, which is called dieta in South American cultures, will play a role in our connection with the entheogenic ingredients. The spirit of the plant will be connecting directly with the soul, the spirit of the participant. Once an entheogenic plant is ingested, it stays with them for life and bonds with their DNA. This initiation is an imprint on their soul and is forever a bond between the master plant teacher and the initiated one. Once this sacred bond has occurred, it is very well known to the initiate. Life is never the same. One has been awakened from their slumber, or fully awakened as to a new way of living in this third dimension. DMT, dimethyltryptamine, is common among many plants and is also produced in the human brain. DMT is not toxic and not addictive. However, it does provide mystical experiences with the divine source that are meaningful and life-changing. DMT is a life-altering experience that most participants have stated was very esoteric and changed their worldview. DMT is at higher levels in the human brain at night while sleeping and is produced by the human body naturally. Why at night? Humans travel to the other side of the veil while sleeping or in the dream state. DMT is considered a very powerful essence because of its ability to open the veil between the different dimensions. DMT is known as the absolute entheogen on this planet. There are several characteristics that are seen in a DMT experience. The participant is beyond the confines or outside of the dimensional time-space continuum. Therefore, they are unaware of how long the download of information was received, for it could have been seconds, minutes, and so forth. No time is experienced, and they have a sense that all the information received was a truth that they felt was meant for them. There is a feeling of an indescribable and profound experience. These are characteristics of an entheogenic experience. Our culture has a fear of the unknown of death. A psychonaut dies to this physical reality each time they go into a psychedelic session and therefore experience death. If a person were to go into hypnosis session, most of the time a history of lives lived before this particular life will come up and will be recorded during this hypnotic session to verify that we don't truly die, for death is an illusion. We only die to this physical reality in this recorded historical time period. A participant can learn of these dimensions while in their entheogenic sessions, and therefore remember these locations on the other side of the veil after they have experienced the actual physical death in this reality. Once these other dimensional realities are known, they can go to these spiritual realms after the physical death, for they can remember where they are located and have already experienced being there. Integration is just as important, as if not more important, than the actual psychedelic experience, for it requires dedication to take all the wisdoms gained and apply them directly into one's daily life. Integration is what makes the entheogenic experience lasting, for it changes one's perspective, thoughts, emotions, and actions, which causes the transformational process. Currently, clinical medical research using psilocybin in end-of-life diagnoses such as cancer found in patients having mystical illumination and coming to know of their divinity, that they are eternal life beyond this physical world. There is hope that hospitals and hospices will gain legal approval for end-of-life crisis diagnoses, and that entheogens can be provided to help people with a deeper wisdom and comfort of experiencing their inner dimensions. After the mystical experiences, the participants in the psilocybin clinical research described having no more fear of death, and the entheogens provided a gift to enjoy life here more fully while still in this physical reality, and the losing of their ego having control over them. Entheogenic participants found that connecting with their higher self and source gave them such a comfort and a peace that surpassed all understanding. They came to an esoteric wisdom of there being no before or after birth and death. There is the present moment, and all there is in each moment is source expressed through them. These entheogenic ecstatic states of consciousness prove to the individual that their life is eternal and that they live forever. Once awakened, they cannot go back to sleep and view this temporary life as part of this human journey. The participant with entheogens under the influence can experience the dying of the ego part of themselves. This is known as having the experience of the ego death, where an aspect of themselves has died to this physical reality, so they can rise to another level of reality. When a participant goes through the ego death, they are also experiencing the lower levels of themselves. The participant goes through the ego death first, which is separation from the personality, conscious mind, shadow aspects, and physical form. And then all other deaths in future entheogenic sessions are helping the healing of the collective suffering from many centuries of past tragic history that have taken place against humanity. The infinite intelligence knows that this needs to be cleared and will utilize those willing to help with the purging of negative acts and negative energy from this planet, which is a form of healing the collective consciousness. Discussions have occurred between psychonaut people who say that they agree that there is a collective clearing and purging they have personally experienced over the many years of the entheogenic exploration. These discussions of collective clearing of negative energy resonate with the people who have experienced multiple entheogenic sessions, which is also meant to help in the evolution of humanity on this planet. Participants in psychedelic sessions claim there is this message that is coming through of a transformative nature occurring presently on this planet. There is also an enraptured experience within entheogenic sessions that occurs for the participant, depending upon what is needed for the individual. Many times, after several sessions of clearing out personal and collective negative energy, this is felt as a deeper connection with the higher self. Some participants state that they were able to see their entire life as a life review in advance. It suggests that there are experiences in one's life destined as part of their human journey. To heal the fear allows for the love to come forward and be present in a more powerful way that others can see and experience. Many want to deny that darkness exists within themselves. Not accepting this aspect creates unbalance, for every person has light and darkness, higher and lower frequencies, and is experiencing the multiple characteristics of both in their life. There are advantages to going into these darker realms within to gain a better understanding of this observance of ourselves. The journey of healing is not just about having a mystical experience and then everything in one's life is sorted out by itself. We all understand pain and suffering and wanting to feel whole and happy and integrate the insights into our lives to improve them. Integration is about learning to accept our painful past or current difficulties and move beyond the unhealthy state of being. We can show compassion for others, for we ourselves have experienced pain. Transformation is learning from the darkness, moving back into the light by creating opportunities to make a new way of thinking, living, and being. The ego death is experienced and talked about by people who have entheogenic sessions, regardless of what type of entheogen they ingest. There are times when a participant can experience the death of their identity during the entheogenic ceremony. And then the next session, a death experience can happen again. Experiencing the ego death in each session doesn't always occur, for each person is unique. Life and death are big questions and realities for each of us to contemplate. The initiate who has experienced a life-altering change in perception will never be the same. Humanity is dealing with the absence of sacredness and meaning, and now it has been experienced during the entheogen ceremony. Many initiates during the sacred entheogenic ritual have experienced Source and many other dimensions and are forever changed. Indigenous communities globally have used psychedelics in spiritual ceremony and for healing for thousands of years. It is very normal for the entheogen initiate to have a time of removal of the ego and personality in order for the higher self to be able to step forward and provide a higher viewpoint. A remembering is created in this sacred setting where deeper insights, vivid visions, and an upgraded view of themselves occur during non-ordinary states of consciousness. The shamanistic culture views these altered states of consciousness while in ceremony as a healing opportunity to remove the amnesia of people's perception of who they are and their life here. Allowing these non-ordinary states of consciousness to be accepted as necessary in the Western culture in order for this process to be a part of the healing and spiritual experience. We need to die to our belief systems and all that we feel in this material, intellectual reality. With each death during a psychedelic session, we are born into a higher reality. At some point, a participant will come to a meeting or a deeper understanding of the infinite presence and the overall plan for the galaxies and this local universe. Entheogens don't take us anywhere outside of us, but in fact to a deeper level within us and a connection with our inner space. Jesus and Buddha were humans as well and experienced the human journey. We will be evaluated and so must do the best we can to live our life in the physical form. We tend to put Buddha and Jesus on this high level where we can't attain this level of awareness. There is no need to attend a church to become a highly aware, evolved being. We must follow the footsteps of living a life full of compassion for humanity, as Buddha and Jesus did while they walked this planet. The Buddha came into enlightenment and became fully awake while living in a dense forest for 6 years. It is possible that Buddha used an entheogenic plant that facilitated a mystical experience, causing the enlightenment. There was no governmental agency saying it was not allowed back while Buddha walked the earth. Since the beginning of when humans walked this planet, plant intelligence has communicated with indigenous cultures and was widely accepted until modern times. Now, entheogens are making their way back to the expansion of acceptance in human consciousness, which will help update the erroneous views of how plants are to be feared. Spiritual teachings are based on love and acceptance of all life on this planet, and what better way than to feel a deep connection to the fellow human, animal, and plant family. We are all in this together, so we need to value and treasure all living beings that inhabit this planet. The Buddhistic tradition came from the forest among the plants, which may have talked with Buddha, who was known to have telepathic abilities. Many Buddhists find a bond with indigenous cultures, for Buddhism respects and honors all life on this planet and believes they are all sentient beings. Then along comes an entheogenic plant and talks with one while in a sacred plant ceremony. And a participant can't forget the messages and all the mystical experiences. Taoism is another spiritual tradition that believes that plants and time and nature should have the reverence for cherishing of these delightful living beings. Spiritual growth is easier to attain in nature than sitting inside a building viewing technology. Yes, technology is needed on this planet, yet spiritual growth is enjoyable with other living beings out in nature. Nature reminds us of life and creates an opportunity for rest, relaxation, and peace. Mother Ayahuasca is a great teacher, and along with other entheogens, will cause a transformation of one's consciousness. Ayahuasca is unique in that the purging process releases and heals, energetically and physically, what is needed to be restored in one. Taoism reverence for nature was admired by Chinese Buddhists and later was embraced and assimilated as Zen Buddhism. Gautama Siddhartha, known as Buddha, was living in northern India and came to achieve an awakening. thereby declaring himself as the awakened one and coming out of the sleep state or a dream-like reality. The Sanskrit word for Buddha means awakened. There is a strong connection with Buddhism and participants of entheogenic plant ceremonies. Many participants have stated that they experienced the bardo, which is mentioned in the Tibetan Book of the Dead as the lower worlds. The entheogenic participant experiences a separation from the physical body, which allows them to travel to other realms, causing mystical experiences that forever transform their perspective upon returning to the physical world. Having a recognized belief system, such as Buddhism, that talks about these and other spiritual realms on the inner confirms what participants state they have personally experienced. When a participant shares the particular details that match the elements of an insightful and spiritual attainment, the Buddhist tradition has categorized and identified what the entheogenic participant has experienced. For example, the participant will share how they were one and experienced oneness with all of life, with all the people, plants, elements, deities, stars, planets, and so forth. This is known as cosmic consciousness, for the participant has experienced the divine connection with everything seen and unseen to the human eye. This mystical experience of oneness with all will adjust the programming of earthly life to show the true connection and how we are all connected and made of the same spiritual essence, which is Source itself. A participant during an entheogenic session needs to be aware that there are realms that they will be visiting and that they may have interaction with beings in that reality. A participant is not allowed to barge right into any other realm without respect and protection. These realms have energetic dharmic principles that the participant may not know or understand, and therefore may make it difficult to fully engage with this non-ordinary reality. These mystical experiences can have the impression of being scary or strange due to the nature of not being familiar with these dimensions. There are custodians who protect these esoteric wisdoms, and this information is heavily guarded, for only those with a vibration that is high enough will be provided these wisdoms, so they will not fall into the wrong hands and be used against humanity or any life on this planet. At this time, when a wisdom keeper is opening up these ancient teachings, protection is to be requested before relaying the information. Otherwise, it is too risky and can be misused for negative agendas. Ayahuasca was found to intensify and strengthen the Buddhist lifestyle in the Buddhist participants, such as a deeper conviction to meditation and staying in the present moment. There is total removal in the connection with death, since one travels to the beyond and back through entheogenic mystical experiences. There are deeper realities, and evolvement never ends. It is a forever journey of self-discovery. The stronger the energy is that a participant comes in contact with, the more they need to ground and integrate, which will allow stabilization. An entheogenic participant learns to take this intense, absolute light and live in this new reality. We can go our entire lives, and there is information that won't make it to our conscious level of the mind. Being able to go on an entheogen journey offers an opportunity to reunite with the higher self, the soul, to gain deeper wisdoms. At some point in a person's spiritual journey, when they move beyond just self-help and are open to self-discovery, the bigger questions will arise. The individual will come interested in realities beyond this dimension: self-realization, incarnation onto this planet, their purpose work, spiritual beings in other dimensions, esoteric teachings from different belief systems, God realization, and the divine plan. Psychology and psychotherapy have their limitations and will refer a person to a religious communities to help in trying to answer these deeper probing questions. Entheogens answer these deep questions for many participants in the sacred ceremonies. Many people who have meditated for years without much success have opted to use entheogens by a highly trained facilitator and have gained access to other spiritual realms. Hence, the ability to have mystical experiences is achieved, which brings more dedication to the spiritual practice of further meditation and spiritual realization. Entheogens enhance spiritual development and spiritual practices. Entheogens cause a new viewpoint while living in the physical world. Mystical experiences are hard to put into a language, and who defines or determines what a mystical experience is? The person will have a deep knowingness, and no one will be able to convince them otherwise. There is a vivid and perfect recall years later of the entire mystical experience, and the sacredness of the events is remembered down to the cellular level. Entheogens are not drugs. They offer a mystical journey off the physical plane that creates a portal opening into realms to explore, expand consciousness, and realize one's unity with the divine essence. Entheogenic plant ceremony initiates from ancient times, including these current times, share a common Eucharist and theology of having blessed with mystical experiences. A mystic knows there is more than meets the eyes, and this discernment of the physical world is only a small portion of the overall reality. Entheogens were ingested during the Eleusinian Mystery ceremony by participants, and what was experienced was more than ecstasy. It was a first-hand revealing of the mystery of one's divine nature and how they are immortal, eternal, divine being in a physical form. This would definitely cause a participant to say what happened to them was unspeakable and indescribable. There is a connection between mystical consciousness and the entheogenic plants. These plant teachers are so powerful that they have been known to turn an atheist into a person who believes in the divine and the existence of the infinite source. There are different ways to experience the divine presence: meditation, contemplation, non-ordinary states, and so on bring one to these experiences. At some point, a psychedelic participant will experience just being a sphere of light. There is this level of diamond luminosity, of light, and one sees for themselves that this is an aspect of their true identity while in a psychedelic session. Many psychedelic participants meet entities on different levels of reality, yet at some point they will be able to have a direct experiencing recognizing that they are a light being. There are places that receive sounds not heard by humans that resonate around the planet. When people treat others with love and compassion, it raises the frequency of the person who acted in kindness. Negative actions and thoughts lower the vibrations of the planet, which affects all life on Earth. Currently, the sound frequency is low on Earth. In the beginning, people had telepathic abilities because there was a higher frequency on this planet, and all life would communicate together, work together, live together in harmony. In the very beginning, the rocks would talk with humans, the trees would visit with the humans, the animals were playing with the people, and the birds would sing and talk with us because humanity was awake, aware, and resonated at a much higher frequency. While a participant is having an entheogenic experience, there is this feeling that there is a presence with them, guiding them, leading them, showing them information of different kinds. There is also a feeling of familiarity, the importance of this information being relayed to them, the closeness and oneness of everything, the warmth, the feeling of love, and other positive attributes known to the participant. There is a sense of expansiveness and yet personal connection of the participant and the spiritual presence, and how deeply important it was for them to remember this experience. When we go deep enough, we reach a paradox. Everything that we see is temporary, and everything that is unseen is eternal. Spiritual instruction has been revealing this spiritual truth for millennia. The soul puts on the earth astronaut suit, the human body, and enjoys the journey in the material world on earth. This hero's journey in the Earth School will provide many experiences while on the human expedition. New souls are coming to the physical plane daily, and many more have graduated from the Earth School. Classes are taking place at all levels. Some souls are here at grade levels, and others are completing postdoctorate training, preparing them for future spiritual assignments in service to the divine plan. All souls are special. Some have just been around longer than others, referred to as old souls. These mature souls help the younger souls by being living examples, by being awake and aware of their spiritual purpose work in this lifetime. Thank you for taking this time and listening and being a part of this lecture series. I've enjoyed going through them with you, and I look forward to any comments that resonate with you. And I look forward to you being with me at the next time when we get together in the next chapter of Master Plant Teachers. Thank you for joining me today. I have enjoyed spending this time with you. If you'd like additional information about me, click on my website listed in the description. Until next time.